What do you get when you have a bunch of coppers not doing what they're trying to force you to do? 2 weeks paid leave, of course. Cheating, lying police. Now that's not a statement, it's a fact, as student coppers discovered cheating on their police exam. Police seem to simply make up roles in order to spend their budget just so they don't get a reduction in next year's budget. Armed police insist a busker must stop busking after being a regular busker for the past 7 years due to an apparent noise complaint. 2 cops discharging each other's faces, allowing detainee to escape. A detainee who later has his case discharged. This and much more coming up. Don't forget, these reports are daily, Monday to Friday. Please remember to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you appreciate the work that I do and understand that these topics result in little to no YouTube monetization, please consider joining the channel Patreon for as little as just £3 a month to help me continue providing you this content. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, innies, outies, and of course in-betweeners. My name's Dan and welcome back to another PAP Reports. It's Friday, July 31st, 2020. So let's start today with 22 clever Lancashire coppers. A group of police constables attended a retirement party for a colleague at the Greenbank police station in Blackburn. A retirement party being an illegal gathering. Illegal isn't my word, by the way, but isn't it funny how they use the word, but then they're the ones attending? After the gathering, one of the constables had tested positive for the flu, coronavirus, which now means that all of the others who attended now get a 2-week paid holiday for their breaking of the regulations. What a result! The funny part is that Blackburn and Darwin had already been identified as an area of intervention by Public Health England due to an alleged spike in coronavirus cases. But of course, providing they were wearing their uniforms means that they're immune. Right? Isn't that why they are hardly ever seen wearing PPE? Now, it's said that Blackburn area now has a similar number of cases to Leicester, which of course was unlawfully placed in a lockdown situation. However, it is also said that Blackburn is not thought to be getting locked down themselves like Leicester was, which seems a little bit strange. Assistant Chief Constable Peter Lawson said, "We take the health of both our officers and the communities we serve extremely seriously," which is no doubt why the retirement party, which was held at the station, was given the green light in the first place, yeah? As soon as we were notified by an officer that they had tested positive for COVID-19, we immediately started tracing their contacts and required them to self-isolate. I do hope they were asked for proof rather than taking a constable's word for it that he had coronavirus. I mean, let's face it, it's not like they can be taken at their word, is it? He continued, "I can assure people that we continue to meet all our minimum staffing levels and there will be no effect on operational policing in the county." Now, considering that Lancashire Police, with approximately 2,895 staff, already have proportionately fewer constables per 100,000 population than other forces, I find this likely to be a statement made to put people's minds at rest rather than the actual truth. I do hope the constables who broke the illegal gathering rules are dealt with properly on their return. I guess we'll have to wait and see whether their breaking the rules will result in any disciplinary action. Dr. Kerry Pimblott, a lecturer in international history at the University of Manchester and a member of the Resistance Lab, a network of activists, grassroots community groups and university staff and students who work to confront racist state violence, has written a report titled "A Growing Threat to Life, Taser Usage by Greater Manchester Police." The report calls for tasers to be abolished due to the increasing use by Greater Manchester Police of more than 70% in a year. Personally, I think that most police forces have just forgotten that these are not tools for compliance, but rather tools for life and death situations. It seems that they all forget that tasers are basically classed as firearms, and you wouldn't shoot someone just because they're running away from you, unless of course they had a weapon. But in most cases, that's not what we see. The report also claims that Greater Manchester Police uses the devices on more children than any other force, and recorded more incidents involving tasers, whether discharged or not, than any other force outside of London, warning that as the use of tasers by police across England and Wales has increased by 500% in the last 10 years, cases in which the public are seriously injured or killed can expect to rise. Last year alone, Greater Manchester Police's use of tasers increased by 73%. Trigger happy cops, or just reach for the weapons because they're poorly trained in dealing with the public? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. The Resistance Lab report calls for the force to cease using tasers. Dr. Pimblott said it is clear that the rollout of tasers across England and Wales presents an intrinsic and growing threat to life and public safety. This report shows that in our own community of Greater Manchester, this threat is borne disproportionately by black communities and people with mental health conditions. Those risks are heightened with lethal consequences when tasers are deployed against children and vulnerable adults suffering from underlying health issues such as cardiac and pulmonary conditions, diabetes and epilepsy. Sabir Akhtar of Resistance Labs said there is a long history of policing injustices against black and ethnic minority communities. This report shows that tasers are being disproportionately used against black people and that in Manchester we have among the highest levels of taser usage nationally. The police abuse their power, police abusing powers, by weaponising the taser against black communities with severe consequences. Now, I don't want to be called names here, and without the time to check the actual statistics, I'm pretty sure that BAME folk are more likely to be involved in crimes where weapons are involved. If someone has the time, maybe they can confirm or refute that with actual statistics. But if that is the case, then although I could be wrong, I'm sure I'm not, then surely that would explain the higher usage of tasers against them. I don't think anyone should be injured when being arrested. Sometimes if people are struggling, they might get a knock, bruise or a scrape, but it should never be enough to be called excessive force. And as for being seriously injured by a police weapon, then that should only ever be in a case of life or death situations, as we have to allow the police to protect themselves and the public in life or death threat of immediate harm situations, which will ultimately mean that someone's going to get seriously hurt. We can't allow people to run around with weapons killing people, including the police. Assistant Chief Constable Nick Bailey, Force Lead for Specialist Operations, said our priority is to protect our communities and keep them safe. Greater Manchester Police strives to be a minimal force organisation, with less than 1% of incidents we deal with currently resulting in the use of force. This number includes incidents which relate to verbal commands and handcuffing suspects. It is often the case that having a taser-trained officer present at an incident, including those that may involve a weapon, serious assault or violence towards officers, can resolve a dangerous situation quickly and safely. This prevents them from escalating, and often the situation is resolved without the taser being discharged, or another use of force such as a baton or incapacitance spray being used. As the nature of crime has changed and with assaults against officers becoming more frequent, we increased the number of officers with Greater Manchester Police who are taser trained following a review in 2017. This was done in order to more effectively respond to every incident in a proportionate and safe manner to protect the public. Before any officer is able to carry a taser, they must undergo an intensive 4-day training course and attend a yearly refresher course to ensure they are proficient in its use and have sound judgment of when to use it. Although the number of incidents involving a taser grew from 1718 to 1819 due to the numbers of trained officers increasing, the percentage of total taser incidents where a taser was not discharged has increased by 6%. Our figures also show that incidents involving a taser have reduced, with the latest figures from 19 to 20 showing a drop from 1,442 to 1,336. I want to reassure our communities that we work hard to ensure that everyone in Greater Manchester receives fair, proportionate and equal treatment by Greater Manchester Police. All use of force incidents are closely reviewed, and if there are concerns that it has been used disproportionately or unnecessarily, then the matter is referred to Greater Manchester Police's Professional Standards Branch for investigation, and consideration is given about a potential referral to the IOPC. We continually monitor our use of tasers to better understand any local impact, and we work closely with our communities through enhanced engagement to understand their concerns and take any action necessary to improve our policies. We have also committed to working alongside the Mayor of Greater Manchester's office to publish a quarterly race equality policing report on the use of policing powers, the first of which will be published this autumn. This report will help to ensure that all of our communities receive fair and proportionate treatment from Greater Manchester Police and seek to build more community confidence through greater transparency. The relationship between the police and the public in the UK is strong, but there is always more to do. Every day, up and down the country, officers and staff are working to strengthen those relationships and address concerns Only by working closely with our communities do we build trust and help keep people safe. 19-year-old Coldstream Guard Private Jack Prescott has found himself in a right royal bind after he was arrested by the Royal Military Police after he was said to have been found with 9 bags of Charlie, Beak, Coke, whatever it is you call it these days, in his room and car at Wellington Barracks near Buckingham Palace. After remnants of white powder were found in the guardroom toilets in St James's Palace, the Royal Military Police called the police after a soldier found several bags of drugs in a cleaning box where they keep polished clothes and brushes for their uniforms, and police investigating allegedly found 5 suspected bags of cocaine and 4 of ketamine, a horse sedative, in Prescott's belongings. Private Prescott, whose duties include protecting the Queen, was ordered to take a drugs test and removed from ceremonial duties pending the outcome of an investigation. An army spokesman said, "We are investigating, and while we do so, it would not be right to comment further." Metropolitan Police Constable PC Mohammed Ali, based at the Met's Central West Command Unit, appeared before a misconduct hearing on Tuesday the 21st over allegations he breached standards of professional behaviour in respect of honesty and integrity, orders and instructions and discreditable conduct. The allegations come after a test taken when he was a student constable undertaking his certificate of policing course. Now, I'm surprised they didn't give him a commendation and an immediate promotion to inspector after he was found to have made notes on a desk prior to a closed book examination and to have referred to his iPad along with notes during the examination, which was a deliberate attempt by him to gain an unfair advantage. His name was Muhammad Ali. Was that not advantage enough? And no, that's not me being discriminative. It's me taking the piss out of police. The misconduct panel found PC Ali to have breached the standards in respect of orders and instructions and discreditable conduct. But even though he cheated, which was dishonest, the allegation under honesty and integrity was not proven. How odd. PC Ali was given a written warning. Obviously, they didn't want to get rid of someone who they knew could make it to Chief Constable in record time. Sussex Police Constable 25-year-old Charlotte Kemp had her gross misconduct hearing on the 27th of July to consider 3 allegations against her in that she breached standards of professional behaviour. Kemp was arrested in July 2019 at a trade stockist for beauty and hair products in Hastings when she was captured on CCTV in the company of another person who was seen stealing items to a value of more than £200. Her companion pleaded guilty to the offence at Hastings Magistrate Court in November 2019. However, Kemp did not face charges. The 3 charges related to the fact that she had played a part in the commission of a criminal offence, she had failed to exercise her powers as a police officer in the prevention and detection of crime by preventing her companion from shoplifting, and that stolen items were actually found at her home address. Chief Superintendent Lisa Bell, Head of Professional Standards for Sussex Police, said, "Police officers must behave in a manner that does not discredit the police service or undermine public confidence, whether on or off duty." This officer fell far short of the standard we expect at Sussex Police, and her actions were clearly completely out of keeping with the role that others uphold with pride, integrity, and with the trust of the public whom they serve. We are determined not to let a very small number of officers damage the confidence held in our force and the huge amount of good work carried out by hard-working and dedicated police officers and staff across the country. Ex-PC Kemp didn't attend the hearing as she had already resigned, and the panel concluded that had she not resigned, she would have been sacked. For all the good that makes now. Police forces are creating new roles called Community Safety Engagement Officers. Now, some places already have these roles within their forces, but many don't yet. Essex Police seem to be the latest to introduce these roles to their community policing teams. I'm not sure community policing accurately describes them, but let's go with it for now and see what this is all about. Each policing district in Essex will have 2 community safety engagement officers. 10 started their new roles last month, and there will be another 10 in post from October. Superintendent Craig Saunders said the community safety engagement officers will help community policing teams build on the excellent work they are already doing to tackle local issues. They'll be taking a lead on ensuring we deal with what matters most to residents and resolving problems in the long term. Well, I will say that it's probably about time you did, although police forces have been saying that for years. He continued, their expert knowledge of local communities will be a real asset to help ensure we continue to build and maintain strong relationships and work together with local people to ensure everyone feels safe and informed. Expert knowledge of local communities. Do you know, my first task, if I was bringing these people in, is to take them out in the community and see just how many people know and respect them. How many people offer them in for a cup of tea, for example, because there's no point having any police in a local community role that doesn't know the local community or the local community doesn't know them. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I seem to remember, the Bobby on the beat walking down the road. If I was behaving, we'd talk to him, kick him off football, just for him to weave round us and plant it between our jumper goalposts. Or if I was being a twat, I'd disappear sharpish because I was frightened, he would tell my mum. Because he knew my mum, and practically everyone else's mum too. But what do these community police do these days? I'll tell you what they do. They try and stitch you up. They lie to your parents to teach you a lesson. They cause arguments between families. They are about as community orientated as a tiger seal in a penguin enclosure. It's just more ways for the police to spend their budget in order to not get a lesser budget next year. And isn't it funny how the police family are so tight and will do anything for one another while they're all wearing a uniform, but as soon as they part ways, they almost have an epiphany and generally have contempt for one another. It's a shame it takes till they part company to have that epiphany. But still, 17 ex-police constables who were forced to retire due to injuries suffered in the line of duty have now taken Staffordshire Police to court in a landmark legal case after seeing their pension pots cut. Birmingham Administrative Court has been holding a judicial review with the ruling of the outcome expected within the next few days. A review on the degrees of disablement still suffered by around 360 of their former officers who had been forced to retire through injury was announced, and as a result, retired police saw their pension pots cut. The forced review is said to have included unrestricted access to each individual's medical records from birth and to personal financial information. Now, while I disagree with access to personal information, it shouldn't matter how much money someone has if they're getting a pension. I don't necessarily disagree with the medical records access. I do think, however, that for the police to have direct access when they could simply ask for an independent medical professional for their opinion based on the records is taking things a bit far. However, after this request was refused by 17 of the ex-police constables, they saw their pensions reduced by as much as £1,200 a month. £1,200 a month. Jesus Christ, how much were they getting for a pension? That's not a pension, it's a fucking payoff. If the court sides with Staffordshire Police, campaigners say other chief constables could review the pensions of injured officers as a way of saving money. The Injury on Duty Pensions Association said, "We are proud to support the former police officers who have taken the Chief Constable of Staffordshire to a judicial review. These pensioners have served their communities but sadly had their careers ended by severe physical or mental health injuries through no fault of their own. We now await the court results in which will hopefully clarify the law in relation to the obligations placed upon the pensioners during these reviews." Secretary of the Staffordshire Police Federation, Glyn Pattinson, said, "It is not disputed that reviews can and should take place. It is about how that is done. You are dealing with sensitive personal information, and all of us want it to be treated that way." Oh, really? You mean you don't want to give up your personal information? Isn't that ironic? Injury benefit is paid to police who have been injured to such an extent they can no longer perform their ordinary duties and can be required to retire. As compensation, they can be often awarded a one-off gratuity payment plus pension for life. But the amount paid can be revised over the years if the effects of the injury get substantially better or worse. The court hearing relates to the ongoing payment, not the original lump sum paid out. Staffordshire Police say the Chief Constable has a legal requirement to continue to review the ongoing payments to ensure it reflects the extent to which the injury continues to cause a loss of earnings. A Staffordshire Police spokesman said the hearing in the High Court has concluded. The court will set out its findings regarding the background and the legal issues involved which are complex. We will not comment on individual cases during this interim period. An antique shop owner in Worcester has been left a little upset after a police van, allegedly responding to a concern for welfare call, mounted the pavement, crashed into a large potted plant and damaged the frontage on July the 18th. 69-year-old Lord Rene Cook, the owner of the treasure trove on Barbourne Road, says he is furious with the way police have handled the incident and that he feels they are not taking his concerns seriously. Really? He said, "The police lost control of their vehicle due to high speed and smashed into our showroom. This has caused extensive damage to our premises. The complete shop frontage has just gone through major refurbishment, having complete new window frames, also new glass windows. Outside our premises are very large planters. One of them was completely smashed. If it was not for the large pot, the police vehicle would have gone through the glass window into the showroom where people were working, fitting the new carpet to the window display areas. It does not bear thinking about what could have happened. A life is far more important than chasing vehicles at tremendous speeds, having no thought for public safety." He added, "I phoned the police to tell them my concerns and to explain the damage to my property, only to be told there was minimal damage and to claim through our insurers. I am so appalled with the manner of the police and have now sent a letter of complaint to the Chief Inspector of West Mercia Police." A West Mercia Police spokesperson said, "Officers were responding on blue lights to an emergency call regarding an immediate concern for welfare on the evening of Saturday the 18th of July. The police van, travelling in the rain, mounted the curb and has collided with a large plant pot outside the treasure trove, which in turn caused some damage to the shop's fascia. The officers in the van immediately apologised to the manager of the store and, as their body-worn video shows, they cleaned up the damage. They also made a call to the store owner to apologise and subsequently so has a local sergeant. The cost of the damage will be managed via an insurance process." I'm beginning to wonder if these highly trained drivers are required to retake their advanced driving tests after every accident. I think I'll have to look into that. Armed Lancashire police were dispatched to a Busker in Blackpool after a noise complaint to to politely request to keep the noise down and stop entertaining the public. 38-year-old Elavi Dowie is said to have been a regular feature over the past 7 years in Blackpool, busking and playing gigs. However, this time, Elavi was told that his busking was too loud, that he was being intimidating to the public and that he used foul language, all of which he denies. In fact, he said, "I don't like to make things racist when they aren't, but I do feel I'm being targeted because I'm a black musician." Oh, for God's sake. I thought Blackpool was supposed to be a place of inspiration and a place that is open to other cultures and people. To have armed police come up to you is unnerving and quite terrifying. I feel like I'm being targeted and criminalised. Lancashire Police said that it is not unusual for armed police to attend any type of incident if the officers in question are the nearest resource available. They added that the officers would not have been informed of the man's race when they were sent to the incident, which I find highly unlikely. Elavi was busking on Church Street on May the 25th this year. However, although I find that unlikely, I still don't think that just because he was black, that was a reason for them telling him to stop. Elavi was busking on Church Street on May 25th this year. He says that during his set, Business Improvement District Warden, more commonly known as a Jobsworth, called for police to attend the scene. The warden told Elavi that his performance was too loud and that he was using bad language which was intimidating members of the public. The 38-year-old said, "I would never use bad language in my performances. I do talk to the public, either to thank them or interact with them during my performances." The warden also didn't do what the council was supposed to do. He should have checked my noise levels, and if it broke that, then he could have taken steps. They called the police before I had finished the first song. The 38-year-old was later served with an antisocial behaviour warning, claiming that it was illegal for him to busk without permission from the council, that his performances were too loud and that he had been intimidating to the public. Elavi says he has never required council permission to perform before and says that other performers are able to get away with their activities without seeking permission. The IOPC have launched an investigation into the death of 46-year-old Matthew Terrill, who died in Sheffield police custody on Wednesday 22nd of April. As is normal practice for deaths occurring during or following police contact, South Yorkshire Police referred themselves to the IOPC following the death. A spokesman for the IOPC said officers were still gathering information and that the investigation was in the early stages. Mr. Terrell's family and the coroner have been informed. Tests to find out how he died have been carried out. The results are not yet known. Any more information on that comes available, I'll let you know. Instagram was turned into WikiLeaks after highly sensitive murder investigation material was shared in what's described as a chilling example of how the platform is being exploited by criminals and gang members. The information leaked included elements of witness statements containing disturbing details from the investigation into the murder of Joshua Ribera, a grime artist who was stabbed in the heart and died on the 21st of September 2013. It is understood that, although there's no evidence the posts came from within the prison guards did search the cell of Joshua's killer, Amani Mitchell, as a result of the posts, but no action has been taken against him. One of the leaked posts appears to be a photograph which is partially obscured by a red digital pen of a statement by a witness who saw Joshua being fatally stabbed outside a nightclub in September 2013. Another is a record of a witness being interviewed at Ladywood Police Station in Birmingham. The restricted document has also been posted as a picture with a question superimposed at the bottom of the images, asking followers if they want to see more of the statement. The uploads of thoughts have been posted by a private account that has no picture, carries only cryptic tagline details, but has more than 700 followers. Due to the fact the posts were made using the My Story, which removes the posts after 24 hours, police now say there isn't enough information in screen grabs available and the original material is no longer available online. A prison service spokesman said, while there is no evidence these were posted from prison, we take the issue extremely seriously and any prisoner found with a mobile phone can face more time behind bars. However, Joshua's family is understood to feel that more should be done, including pinpointing the location of the account from where the content originated, to safeguard the integrity of the justice system and future criminal trials. Interesting. I do like to question things and wonder if the material really can't be rediscovered or recovered, seeing as it's digital and digital information never really goes away, or whether it's a long game ploy to get people to think that they can share things that way and get away with it. What do you think? A Northamptonshire police volunteer is facing a disciplinary hearing on August the 4th and 5th over allegations that he breached the standards of professional behaviour by sending inappropriate messages about an operation and his partner's attacker in an online chat group. Special Constable Max Button is said to have posted unacceptable, abusive and aggressive comments and or confidential information multiple times in 2019 following an assault on his partner, who is also a constable. He also allegedly sent messages to a prison officer condoning violence and aggressive behaviour towards his partner's attacker on the same day. Separately, Mr Button is accused of posting confidential information and or operational information and or potential tactics used by Northamptonshire Police when he was asked why there was a large police presence in Corby on June the 2nd. I'll update you on the outcome of that one when more information becomes available. Now, to end on a lighter note for a change, after it's been reported that 18-year-old Robert Sear was spared punishment by Exeter Crown Court after a police interaction where he was being arrested for using threatening behaviour at Teignmouth railway station, and the two police constables discharged in each other's face with incapacitant spray, giving Sears the opportunity to run away. Now just take a moment to picture that in your heads. I'm sure you can see the comedic angle to that. However, the judge at Exeter Crown Court was told that anything other than a discharge would ruin the lad's plans to join the Royal Marines, and so that and the fact that he was 17 at the time of the incident, meaning that sentencing then would have meant a referral order, which isn't available when tried as an adult, meant that the nearest equivalent sentence would be a discharge of his own. Judge David Evans said, what you did with these police officers was to disobey an order. If you do that in the Royal Marines, you find out what happens pretty quickly. Yeah, but being in the military is nothing like being a civilian, and so as a civilian, we still have the right to disobey orders. I hope that image of two cops spraying themselves in the face leaves you with a smile on your face. Very big thank you to all of the supporters of the channel. especially channel Patreon supporters. Of course, your support is truly appreciated and really does help. And that's all I have for you today. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police, and of course other officials.
Good night, all.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.